Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you've all had an amazing week. I wanted to go through some Mechabellum news, both with the devlog 1, which we did miss, as well as the most recent patch, the 0.7.8 patch. So let's get into it. And again, if you like this type of stuff, please let me know in the comments. The roadmap, before the end of June, they're going to be making a whole bunch of improvements and changes. The most interesting thing here to me is that there are going to be several new techs for units. Right now, units kind of have their roles. It'd be cool to see units be able to diversify a little bit more or be able to really lean into one thing heavily. You know, having your fortress become ultra tanky could be super fun. Having a standard ELO system would be great, as well as just making a couple of balance changes. Really good stuff. By the end of July, we're looking at more fortification upgrades, a third device, the missile interceptor, as a standard deployable. I think that would be phenomenal. I think we can all kind of assume what a missile interceptor does. I imagine this is kind of like the ion shield that we've talked about before, just screening out large projectiles, but still allowing for, you know, musket or Mustang shots and Fang shots and things to go through it. I think that'd be really cool, as well as an interesting choice here, the ability to fortify your core buildings. I'm not sure if this fortification is meant to last the entirety of the game, but there might be some play in there in letting a unit of something like crawlers that your opponent places on your flank, just letting them go, because your towers might be fortified enough to withstand the pressure long enough for you to win the main battle and then turn around and kill them. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, but hey, it's something. As well as some standard UI loadouts, some more unit techs and reinforcement cards. I think the reinforcements cards are really important. I'd love to see some more zany things like a reinforcement card that has you switch sides for a turn or something would be really fun. You know, obviously not in competitive matches, but I would like it if there were some more uncompetitive options, like, hey, we all switch sides, or at the end of your turn, steal an enemy unit. You know, that could be really fun. By the end of August, they're looking to allow for AI to take over in a 2v2 match if one of your teammates surrenders or DCs. I think that'd be great. Having a more compact map in 2v2 would be good. Also, the adding of a super giant unit, the War Factory. I think that this would be incredible. Having a spawning unit would be absolutely amazing, especially if what it spawns is like set by the player or somewhat random, as well as new skins for the credit store. Okay, phenomenal. Farther down, we want to add a 4v4 map, optimize the experience in survival mode, add 2 new core units, the Wraith and the Scorpion. The unit names are currently temporary, but let's just kind of guess at what they are. The Wraith as an aerial unit. So let's see, we already have Overlords, which are our giant. We have Wasps, which are our swarm unit, and we have Phoenix, which are our single point damage unit. So what could we really use? We could use something like a chaff killer, or maybe this is going to be a hacker in the sky. So the Wraith could be some type of, I'm thinking like Necron-ish style arc vessel that goes around and shoots multiple lasers at a time, killing off small units, or it could be like a hacker that flies around and grabs maybe aerial units over targeting ground units. That could be really fun. And the Scorpion, I'm kind of getting like a Scorpion King kind of vibe, so I'd like it if this unit was basically like a crawler with the Digger upgrade, where it can go underground, pop up, and deal damage, the Subterranean upgrade. If the Scorpion could do something like that from the get-go, maybe it spawns underground and is meant to pop up underneath units and deal damage in melee, or kind of like a short-ranged Vulcan, you know, a couple of Fang-like units that are slower underground than the crawlers, but are still able to pop up, do a little bit of AoE damage, and then go back underground. I think that could be really cool. Add 4 to 6 new experimental units. There are enhanced, often larger variants of existing units, and will first appear as bosses in survival mode. I like this, because then you get to test it in survival mode. I think having a super heavy tank, a super heavy sniper, a giant overlord, like all of those things would be super cool. And I'd also like it if they kind of benefited from having like an ultra level tier. You know, so right now we have our small units, we have our medium-sized units, we have our giant units, and then nothing else. It'd be cool if there was like one more unit above that, an ultra unit. Maybe not 4 to 6 of them, maybe 2 or 3, as well as a couple more units just all around the shop would be phenomenal. But I do like the idea of having a boss mob that you could potentially purchase at like round 6 to 9. Not the end of a game, but certainly something that's good, because right now in the current meta, giants are seen, but they're not dominating the meta. You know, you can easily counter most giants with smaller units, and I think that's a good thing. Obviously, the game is still in early access. There are a bunch of answers from the community here, but I think that most of these have been addressed in the most recent patches. So let's now move on. Alrighty. Update 0.7.8. The updates are coming out here pretty fast and pretty hot, and I do like this. We see the Vulcan's damage being reduced down again. So previously the damage had been reduced, then it was restored, now it's reduced again. I think that's probably a good idea because Vulcans have an insane attack rate. I think it's 0.1 second per attack tick, and they have pretty darn good splash damage as well. So I think this is a wise decision. They've weakened the Vulcan extended range card. Totally fine. Vulcans right now just had way too much range, in my opinion. Also, their damage, just having a flamethrower burn through your tanks was kind of silly. Fortresses have seen a decrease in health by 2%. Fortresses fortresses just have a ton of HP. So that 2% will make a little bit of a difference. Fortresses are somewhat played in the meta currently, especially the surprise switch to 3 fortresses with shields in the late game can really throw off your opponent, so this could be a good switch here. Melting point base attack has been increased by 3%. This is really important. Currently melting points just take too long to get online, especially if there's even 3 or 4 units in front of them. So you have a fortress, a group of Fang, and a melting point. Obviously those Fang are meant to be the counter to the melting point. However, having the melting point have to tick up in order to kill level 2, 3, 4 unit level Fang is just kind of silly. I mean, the laser itself is like twice the size of the Fang, so I think this is a good thing. Mustang attack has been adjusted from 37 to 36. This is kind of interesting to me. Mustang already struggled with clearing away things like crawlers. They were not great answers to crawlers, and crawlers are still very dominant within the meta, so I'm not sure that this is the best change, but I can see it just because Mustang did kill Wasps and Phoenix very quickly, and they did deal moderate damage to things like tanks and arc lights, but at that point you were better off not using your Mustangs in such a manner. Phoenix attacks interval has been adjusted by 0.1 second. Okay, if that makes any real difference, we'll find out. I guess it could be good when 2 Phoenix are on your 1 sniper. Your sniper might be able to take out both of them now more easily. It wasn't really too much of a problem before. Maybe because Phoenix were killing giant units a little too quickly. Okay. Stormcaller damage reduced by 2%. This I hate. I've been called out in the comments before for having a love-hate relationship with Stormcallers, but Stormcallers were great answers to most giant units, of course, except the Overlord, as well as hordes of infantry. The 2% won't matter too much against the hordes, as most people went with the fire upgrade to deal with that anyways, but it will hurt over time against medium-sized units like rhinos, hackers, tanks, arc lights, those kinds of things. So against giants and hackers, this is actually a significant decrease. Not to the point at which they're unusable. These are all minor changes, but still worth noting. Quick supply spec has had an increase of 200% HP to their health. I think that is incredibly good. The quick supply specialist is not the strongest specialist in the game, just because most games are lasting till around round 10 currently. So having that extra HP really does make a difference, and $200 is not much compared to somebody like a cost supply specialist who at round 10 has an extra $1,000. Marksman spec HP has been increased by 100%, again a good thing. These and then the supply specialist HP has been reduced by 100. I think that's probably wise as well. Things like the quick supply spec, the rhino specialist, the marksman specialist, they're good specialists, don't get me wrong, but they need to capitalize on their early game investment, because if they don't, things like the supply specialist, things like the cost control specialist will catch them, dominate the field, and win the game. So I think it's important that we're seeing these tweaks. Starting unit, Crawler plus Mustang, player HP bonus has been reduced by 100, and Crawler Sledgehammer, player HP has been reduced by 100. As we mentioned before, Crawlers are still fairly dominant within the meta. Of course, you can pick up 2 units of Crawlers, if not more, depending on your specialist at the very beginning of the game. So it doesn't make too much of a difference, but hey, it's a thing. We also see a few bug fixes here. I do like that the fixed issue where the sentry missile would sometimes damage units inside shields. I've had this happen to me on a couple of occasions where I could swear that my tanks were inside the shield, but they all blew up. Kind of weird. The next week's update will be the last major update for June. Okay. The combat system is going to be reworked, and a new MMR system will be introduced in the next update. Oh my god, I can't wait. The new reporting system has been improved. Players can now vote to speed up a battle, and a new tech for the fortress, the rocket punch, will be added. I think it's super cool if the fortress can get into melee, especially if something like this rocket punch makes it an anti-giant unit. You know, if a fortress with the rocket punch can rock up to, I don't know, an overlord, fire off one of its fists to stun the overlord, stopping it from shooting down, as well as doing massive damage, that would be so cool. Also, I just want to see giant robots get into a good old fisticuff. So I really like this upgrade. I'm not sure how it would work because we currently don't have any units that fight in melee and ranged combat. Units that are in melee combat with another unit that's ranged, the ranged unit will still shoot at them. So it would be really cool if your fortress used the rocket punch. Let's say if a rhino gets into melee contact with it and it just crushes the little rhino, that would be super cool. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this overview of the most recent developments in Mechabellum, please like and subscribe. I'm putting out a ton of content on this game, as well as some other variety gaming. I hope to see you all soon, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. All right.